So this is my journey of having shin splints and now not. Now, first of all, who am I and why am I telling you these things? Because am I just some gym junkie? No. My background is in professional sports. I am a youth professional athlete development coach, and I played at some of the highest echelons of sport, got the inside scoop. Personally, I developed a very severe case of shin splints for about 5 or 6 years due to the nature of all the sport and activity I was doing. Now, shin splints for me, this caused an innumerable amount of difficulties with my training. See, every time I would sprint, I could sprint totally fine, but immediately after, I was caught with this searing, intense, terrible pain, which, I personally had to play through because at the professional level, you're trying to make that big money, you're trying to sign that contract, it doesn't matter if you're injured, just play as hard as you can. Now, what is shin splints? Well, shin splints, or otherwise known as MTSS, or medial tibial stress syndrome, is a condition where essentially a few things happen. In my case, my calf muscle was physically shearing off the bone due to the repeated amount of high impact stress. You may also develop stress fractures as a result, but generally this is a problem of the soft tissue physically tearing off the bone, which is pretty gnarly if I'm honest. This is a common runner's problem which accumulates over a long period of time, and particularly stress and impact, high impact. Usually this comes down to form and technique when running, and the main culprit to develop shin splints is landing on your heels, heel striking, because as you land on the heel, the shock, all that energy has nowhere to transmit aside from up your kinetic chain, knees, hips, your shin as your muscle is in direct contrast to what your body wants to do. And you can do this simple at home. You can test to see, take off your shoes and stand up and jog in place. Now, chances are, if you jog in place, you're not landing on your heels. It's terribly uncomfortable. So why do we do this when we run? Why do we do this? Well, it comes down to footwear. Generally, manufacturers create our shoes with that thick, plush sole, so we can improperly run to our heart's content. Not good at all. In fact, this is terrible for us. In fact, Nike doesn't care about our biomechanics at all. They don't care about you, they don't care about me, they don't care about them. What does Nike care about? What does Adidas care about? The big dollars. Now, where does barefoot come in, and can barefoot cure your shin splints? And this is a complicated topic. However, for me personally, I would say it was the #1 biggest factor in curing my severe MTSS. You see, I didn't realize, but my running technique was pretty terrible. When I was running, I was landing on my heel, and most of this shock would translate to my bones, to my knees, to my hips, but my calf muscle was taking so much of the impact rather than landing and using the entire stabilizing chain of your hips, knees, and ankles to take the force. The bone was physically shearing off like such, and I believe it was my running technique which really caused the foundation of my shin splints. It's all about technique, how you move, how you land, how your muscles engage and move when you're sprinting or you're jumping. All these things, the fundamentals of movement, things that we're actually never taught. We're just told, put on your shoes, go run, hit the treadmill. Terrible things, don't do that. So can barefoot cure your shin splints? And I won't say cure because there are so many factors which are involved. However, I believe it is a huge contributing factor. And so I would recommend getting started with barefoot running and movement, either with or without shoes, doesn't matter. As a result, I've created a series of videos on how to get started with barefoot running and movement, on how to get started with the basics, the fundamentals of movement, some exercises which you can practice to develop your stabilizers, to help your feet work like they should. So yes, after my transition to barefoot, it was about 6 months until I was able to run normally again. And at about 1 to 1.5 year mark, I noticed my shin splints pretty much vanished. And to this day, a few years after the fact, my shin splints, nowhere to be found. Personally, this was pretty damn life-changing to me because I believed at that point I was relegated to barely doing more than a simple jog, but now at this point I can fully sprint again, I can run, I can do my activities without the fear of shin splints in the way. And so if this resonates with you, check out my video series on how to get started with barefoot running and movement, because this is all for free. I don't charge for this. I do personal training on the side and such, But all this available for free, public knowledge, no payment. Maybe if you want to help me out, then hit that like, comment, and subscribe buttons, that will actually help me out. Otherwise, no payment needed. So yes, I would recommend starting barefoot. Maybe get some barefoot shoes to complement that. I made a full list of the best barefoot shoes around because there's so much crap on the market. There's so much garbage all over Amazon, Wish, people just trying to sell you crap, paid reviews, all this stuff. So create these free resources so you can understand what are the best ones and for your own particular purpose. My goal really is to help as many people as they can in their health and fitness journeys. And for me personally, I believe my professional career would have went differently had I not accrued all these severe conditions. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and have a beautiful, warm day. Goodbye. Is a condition where the medial tibial has a stress. Duh.